Hi guys. I just needed to come on here and talk about why I've been gone and kind of how I'm gonna plan on coming back on a case-by-case basis. So last you heard from me, I may have mentioned moving over to TikTok. That ended up kind of fizzling out as well. You know, I can go on and talk about the reasons why, primarily burnout. But not just burnout in terms of like exhaustion. I've had some stuff going on and I'll go over some of this stuff and talk about how that affects me and my videos and stuff like that a little bit in a minute. But I do just want to take the minute at the beginning here to state I will be coming back to make videos, mostly because it's something I love doing. I have a hard time justifying making videos if nobody is watching them, or at least making them and posting them online. However, if I'm not going to share them, what's the point? You know, I am especially with my travel vlogs and when I go and do things and I take video, a lot of that is for me, so I can watch them back later. It's not so much for other people. But where I really got kind of burned out was making videos about books. And I noticed that I stopped watching a lot of booktube videos and ended up with like a huge backlog of videos to watch. Started gravitating toward content that was outside of my own niche. And as a result, I just didn't feel like I needed to add my voice to the conversations. As we know, if you are part of BookTube, you know a lot of the videos on here can be kind of cyclical. It's a lot of people stating their personal opinions on a lot of the same topics. And I feel like we get stuck in kind of an echo chamber, so to speak, where nobody's really bringing a whole lot of new things to the table in terms of the conversations we're having on here. Even in terms of like book recommendations, I mean, yeah, you get a lot of the same. It's very hard to find people who branch out a lot. And I found that I was just getting bored. I was getting bored with the content I was creating. I was getting bored with the reading I was doing, and I just decided to quit. It wasn't making me happy. It's not my full-time job. And I was like, I'm going to take a break. And that was probably in November. I had a video go up last on here in October, and then I was like, I'm going to take a break, and then it just turned into like, I am quitting for now. So I did want to talk a little bit about the reasons, because it kind of plays into what I want the channel to be going forward for me. Like I said, I'm trying really hard not to worry too much about whether or not people give a shit. So I'm just going to make videos that make me happy and talk about things I want to talk, and kind of treat this journal as like documenting, or yeah, as a journal. Kind of treat this channel as almost like a video journal, but just documenting my life and kind of where I am at the time. And I think that would be a lot of fun for me personally. And ultimately I'm creating these videos for me in the hopes that other people connect with me. Because the whole reason I started making videos was to try to like meet people and make friends, right? So there's a couple topics I'll probably start kind of covering somewhat when I feel like it, and I'm not really going to limit myself to these either. So just know that you could end up, you know, watching me for one thing, and in a couple years or a year or so, I may not be talking about that anymore. I'm basically just going to go along with the things that are interesting to me currently in my life, the things going on with me, and go from there. I'm definitely somebody who changes a lot. I have a lot of varying interest. So yeah, don't expect one thing from me. We're just going to go with the flow here, and I'm going to talk about what is fun to me. Okay, so going into some of the reasons, I know most people don't really give a shit. However, I do want to talk about some of this because it's important with my life right now. So November, my husband got a new job, which was great for us. There were some things going on with his current job in terms of like the schedule and them cutting some hours and stuff. So he got a new job. the job is going great. He's happy. It was great for us, like, personally, because he finally has good insurance, which leads me into my next thing is I started going to therapy. And I think I've been for 4 sessions now. Yeah. And I think I'll continue to talk about some of this, but obviously it's very personal. But I don't even know. This is very, very hard to talk about. However, I finally received a formal diagnosis, at least for one thing, and I'm potentially going to be going for further testing and evaluations and stuff, but did receive a diagnosis and was not expecting to become so emotional when receiving the diagnosis, but it was very validating. So far my experience at this therapist has been wonderful. Everything about it is very validating. Right now we're still kind of like in the assessment / like get acquainted kind of talking stuff, but I am supposed to kind of take a primer in EMDR this week, and then we're gonna kind of move into EMDR as part of my therapy, so I'm excited to try that. A little nervous, but it'll be okay. So I've been reading a lot of nonfiction on trauma and things like that, and I'm not really like scared to talk about my diagnosis, but I was diagnosed with PTSD. So post-traumatic stress disorder, at least in the US, you know, we talk about complex trauma and then like regular PTSD. There's no definitive difference between those in the US. The DSM is really kind of weird still. So you basically can get like diagnosed with traditional PTSD if you have a major traumatic event. You know, this is what you think about like with war veterans, things like that. And then there's like other subtypes of PTSD. And I technically am diagnosed with dissociative type. So going into this, part of the reason I had to stop filming is because a lot of it, sometimes I think it's the anxiety when I film or the performative aspect of it sends me into disassociation pretty badly. And you could never tell this in my videos because I cut out huge chunks when I'm editing where I am disassociated. But it became very difficult to watch myself back on footage and see that I was disassociated as I'm editing, and not even realize it was really happening when it was happening because of the flashbacks and the way I'm kind of, I call it transported, because of my trauma. So yes, filming became a very triggering thing for me for some reason. I don't know if it's again, the performative aspect of it, feeling like you have to be on. It is something I'm working on, not feeling like that. I mean, it wasn't just filming, I felt like that all the time. And I do feel like, even from the little bit of going to therapy now, that I'm more aware and I'm becoming kind of slowly going to be okay with not being on all the time. So I'm very excited. I'm doing therapy. It's going to be a big difference. You might notice a difference in like my demeanor on camera. You might notice me more spaced out sometimes. And, you know, I may even venture into the realm of like not fully editing out all of those pieces. Especially if I'm talking about mental health type stuff. We'll see how comfortable I get with that. But that had a role to play. And that has been something I've been dealing with like the majority of my life. I might do a whole video on it, but we'll see. I don't know how personal I want to get, you know? Anyway, so that was part 1, my mental health, why I've decided to take a break, and kind of why I'm coming back. Because I refuse to let something like my trauma take away the enjoyment I get out of things, but I think there's a line between it was negative impacting my mental health, and it was making me have symptoms when I was just trying to have fun. So I did need to take a break, and I will probably continue to need to take breaks because of other things going on in my life. Grad school is the other reason. So December, I finished my first semester, passed all my classes, I did good. I am a full-time grad student. I work part-time. This semester has been noticeably more stressful, but not necessarily the courses. One of my classes, I'm struggling with the material a little bit. It's kind of technical. I hate this class. It's difficult. I'm not doing my best. I'm passing as of right now, but it has been a struggle. So mental health wise, I feel like I've been doing better. Physical health wise, I have been doing worse. Since the holidays came and went, which there was an event over the holidays I'll talk about in just a second. Yeah, so anyways, November, I'll just talk about it now. November happened. Dustin started a new job. Okay. Maybe like a week, maybe two, I don't know, into starting this new job, he was in a car accident, and totaled his car. He's okay. He's had some physical injuries related, we think, or exacerbated by the car accident. He's had a back issue before, so it's been kind of a chronic thing, but it kind of got a little flared up there because of the car accident. And it was a pretty big car accident, so that wasn't fun. That was like the beginning of December, I think. It took like a month to a month and a half to get any kind of resolution through the insurance, and subsequently a new car. So that happened. It's over and done with now. Thank God. Everything about it is done. You know, it took a little while there at the end to tie up loose ends and stuff like that. But that happened. It was a very stressful thing because it happened like right before and then during we were dealing with it like right at the start of my semester. So that was kind of stressful. And then right around that time I started having issues, and we thought maybe my health issues at the time were related to stress because of the car accident and having to deal with insurance and all that. And it could have been. That could have been the catalyst. I'm not sure. There's no way to know yet. So I do have some chronic health issues like that exist already. These are not new things, but these were new symptoms I was getting. And the symptoms are kind of coinciding with like a stomach ulcer type situation. I'm getting like really bad gnawing stomach pain. And feeling like I have to like voraciously eat to soothe it, but then it only kind of lasts temporarily. So the pain is like pretty intense. On a scale of like 1 to 10, I would say it's like a 7 or an 8. It's pretty bad. And it comes and goes. And I noticed, so since all this started happening, I had like a couple weeks where it was just really bad, like consistently. And I was exhausted, and I had just started my classes, and it was a whole mess. And despite having new insurance, we have not been able to get a doctor's appointment until April because that's just the way things go. So I'm still waiting for that. We'll find out. I do have chronic migraines as well, so that's a whole thing. That's not new either. So my health has been kind of shit. And now, as of the last couple days, I've been having this really bad, like, vertigo-like symptom, which is weirdly not bad when I'm standing up. But when I sit down or lay down, it is like the whole world is spinning around my head. And it's so bad I'm waking up in my sleep and immediately feeling nauseous and like extreme vertigo. And I thought maybe it was just being dehydrated, which it could be, I don't know. Being hungry, which it could be, I don't know. There's some things I deal with in terms of my mental health that affect my physical health. Like, for example, in this case, I have a really hard time telling when I'm hungry, and it's a mix of because I'm pretty low-grade disassociated from the physical sensation of my body all the time, and possibly being, like, on the spectrum. So, yeah, I have a really hard time feeling, like, when I'm hungry, when I'm thirsty, until I'm, like, ill. So those things have been going on. I don't want to go too much into that. But yeah, those have been the main reasons I've been gone. I'm still dealing with the health issues and probably will continue to deal with them the rest of my life because I have been up until now. Now going forward. So my personal life is definitely something I want to talk about on here. like mental health type stuff, because I feel like there's a lot of educational content on here, but not a lot of like anecdotal, like how does a person with this experience this, you know what I mean? So that being said, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is just like my own personal experiences, and like, as I'm just kind of documenting how things go for me. See, there we go, disassociating. Yeah, so I want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about books still. I kind of want to just squeeze them in. I think I'm going to do a lot of vlog style stuff because that seems to be what I enjoy the most. It's just kind of documenting my life and like everything in it. So yeah, I'll still talk about books. I might do the occasional like book video if I feel compelled. And I don't think I'll be talking about plants a whole lot except for maybe my gardening outside. Houseplants, I'm still very into them, but I'm not going to make content about it because I just don't care. There's several very good creators on here that I don't need to add to that conversation. And I am not the best houseplant mom either. I let plants die constantly. I'm going to continue to make travel related things and that type of stuff. If I can, I'll make videos related to my dog. Stuff like that. I'd like to like sprinkle in some photography type stuff, although a lot of my videography in terms of my travel has to do with my photography, but we'll see. I'm just gonna kind of branch out. May do some video gaming content. We'll see. We were gonna get a gaming computer, but I don't know if it's gonna happen now, so I might do some of that still. I have been playing a couple new games that I'm like super into, so we'll see. The thing is with all this stuff, I don't like to do it consistently. I kind of rotate through my hobbies and I'm just kind of gonna go with that. Okay. We're not gonna put a lot of pressure here. So yeah, you might see photography, books. I don't know if I'll talk about music. It's a big hobby of mine, but I don't know. Maybe some art stuff, video games, travel. I want to do some more videos related to like where I am geographically, and maybe some DC related content because there's a couple on here, but there's not a ton of DC content. And I feel like being here my whole life, maybe I have some stuff to offer there. I want to keep doing more hiking stuff because that's my main thing. And we did buy kayaks. So you will see kayaking content coming this year, hopefully. I have to figure out the logistics of taking my camera in a wet bag and all that stuff. But yeah, for those unaware, in terms of my photography, I'm a pet, portrait, and wildlife photographer. I might just like put up some of my recent, at least, photos. Yeah, and I do landscape and nature photography, that type of stuff, primarily. I'm going to do this because it makes me happy, and if people leave, I don't care. If people watch, I don't care. My happiness with what I create on YouTube and as a videographer is not tied to like how it's perceived or received by the audience. I always told myself that when I started this channel that I wouldn't let myself get niched in. Unfortunately, the algorithm has a way of forcing you by only positively reinforcing videos that fit in the niche it has assigned you. So for me, what that means is my book content videos and the very few game videos I did on here got more views consistently and more interaction than videos that didn't have to do with that, like with travel and hiking and stuff. And that has a way of being like psychologically, you're getting dopamine from that, and it's telling you, I'm getting validation for this type of content. So then you, even if you don't want to do it consciously, you subconsciously start to be like, I'm kind of going to keep doing that because it reinforces that behavior. So the algorithm definitely has a way of like forcing it upon you on here, even if you don't really want it and you kind of resist it. And unfortunately, it leads to a lot of what I have dealt with and what I've heard a lot of other creators, especially on BookTube at least, talk about, and that's burnout in terms of our content and filming. So yeah, so that's where I've been. That's what I've been doing. That's what's been going on. and I will be back. I'm not sure if I'm going to do every week. I don't know if I have it in me every week. So you'll get what you get when you get it. I hope you like it. If you do, stick around. And if you don't, that's okay. You can leave if you want. But I hope people do stick around, and I hope I am able to maybe build a new community that's a little more diverse and less of like the echo chamber of BookTube. But anyways, thanks for checking in, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.